Steve-O.
Yo,
Hey, man, Chicago Bulls managed to lose twice in one day. They lost to the Detroit Pistons, and then they lost a trade to the Sacramento Kings when they traded Zach Lavine to the Kings. Didn't even get we'll get into the particulars after that, but it makes me wonder, man, where does Zach Lavine rank in the pantheon of Chicago Bulls greats? And then we got a whole bunch of news with the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Sky, spring training is on the horizon, all that good stuff, man. Of course, we're going to talk about it right after the intro. All right, all right. Good morning, Chicago sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. It's your boy, Big Kev. We got Steve-O in the building. Q is still on family hiatus. He'll be back as soon as he can. But listen, man, y'all already know what to do. Follow all of our channels. Type in your favorite Chicago sports team and hit the word Central behind it, and you in there like swimwear. Don't forget the Shot Bulls podcast and NBA Central, where things are ratcheting it up over there as well. So it's no secret. Chicago Bulls traded Zach Lavine yesterday in a blockbuster trade that involved the San Antonio Spurs, who ended up getting De'Aaron Fox, who I believe the Chicago Bulls should have been getting. Chicago Bulls got a couple of bags of chips, pack of now and later. Not even now and later. It's like they got the one now and later that you can get for like a quarter. And then
with the piece of glue on it that you can't get off.
yeah, it was ridiculous. And then they got to keep their pick. Like I don't know. It seems as though will be and Zach Lavine is reunited with DeMar DeRozan, which is crazy in itself because we spent the last three seasons saying how they don't play well together, which is just funny to see them now hijacking the Sacramento Kings. That's going to be a very interesting offense to watch over there. And they're going to be the team that the Bulls could have had if they would have parted ways with Patrick Williams a couple of seasons ago and got the Montes Sabonis. So we go see what that finally would have looked like over there in Sacramento. Best of luck to Zach Levine. Thanks for the of course. But listen, man, let's analyze the trade a little bit, and then we'll talk about Zach Levine's, what he meant to Chicago Bulls in terms of the grand scheme of things in the record books and all of that. But I have to say this, Steve-O, because I've been busy, man. Everything that broke over the weekend, I was working, so I didn't really get a good chance to talk about this yesterday or the trade of Luka Doncic to the Lakers, which is crazy. I couldn't do that. But I don't know if AK is allergic to draft picks if he just doesn't see the necessity of obtaining future assets for the team. But trading Zach Levine was a foregone conclusion. I already knew that was going to happen. Why not obtain draft picks? Even the Dallas Mavericks got a draft pick, and they traded Luka Doncic. They traded their franchise player and ended up with a draft pick out of it, plus AD. The Chicago Bulls don't even like what are we doing? Like you trade Alex Caruso, don't get no draft picks. You let DeMar DeRozan go, don't even get a sign and trade out of it. You trade Zach Levine, don't get no draft picks, and then you get a couple of dead bodies along with it. And now you about to trade Vucevic, and I'm guessing the trend is going to continue. You're not going to get any draft picks out of that either, or if you do, it's going to be a third round pick. like, like, what are we doing here? So, like, I'm sitting here driving home, just thinking about it because I didn't get a chance to listen because it was I couldn't even choose which one to watch because y'all was on and then Steve-O and you and Hayes were on and then Bobby and C Dub was on. I was just like, look, man, I'm gonna let those guys cook. I was driving for Lyft anyway, so I didn't want to have the passengers listening to y'all cursing the Bulls out. But it's listen, man. Like Steve, I maybe you got some perspective. Like I just don't know. Like there's no question that the Chicago Bulls got fleeced, bro. Like Zach Levine was having the
Yep.
best season of his career of Chicago Bull. He's shooting 45% from three. He's averaging over 20. He's putting up all-star numbers, honestly. If it wasn't for like Tyrese Maxey and all of these guys that's doing really, really well, Zach and the Bulls record, of course, Zach Levine would have been an all-star this season. How do you not at least get a pick out of the trade? How do you not get one of the premier players out of the trade?
I mean, once we saw Luca only go for one pick, I was like, we definitely ain't getting no fucking first round pick for Zach. I knew it. Like,
Not, but they ain't getting no picks.
We gave up a pick. We gave up a second round pick.
It don't make no sense.
I mean, I've just got to the point where I've came to the conclusion that when it, under AK, you're not going to win the trade. You don't win trades. I can't tell you a trade he's won yet.
It's
Like
like he be winning the trade and then renegotiate the trade that he winning. Like they be like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. You know
we
what,
give you two picks. What about Herder?
man, bro? Like, what are we talking about? Like,
Like me and both Hayes both said it. Like if it was us and we heard this deal go down, no, we rather just keep Zach. Like at the end of the day, we do know like there was a deal to go out for Zach, but it just once again it just proved to show that AK just waited too long again. There was times where we could have traded P Will for value, we didn't do it. There was times we could have traded Boots for value, we didn't do it. There was times there was that New York deal for Zach looks 10,000 times better than this deal today. We didn't do it. So it just shows you like I, this trade just came to the conclusion for me that I'm done with AK. I don't want him as my GM no more. Like at the end of the day, like you did 5 years of fuckery. You did not do your job. Your job is to improve this team. You steadfast for 5 years. That's not improving this team. That's not doing your job. And it makes me look like, did you really have any? I don't even think he was. I was talking to Pat this morning. I don't even think he had his fingers when he picked Joker at this point because ain't no way you can sit here and find some talent like that in Joker, but the people we found is fucking P. Will.
yeah, I mean, AK,
Eric.
like while we're sitting here looking at Ryan Poles, or we even looking at the Chicago Cubs GM or the Blackhawks GM or the Sky G, like AK is just god awful. Like his tenure with the Chicago Bulls, with the exception of what Io, that's
Ayo.
about it. Like that's really just about it. The Io pick is probably his best
Ayo
pick,
and Genzo here.
and trading for Zoe, but you can't even include that because Zoe ain't even played a full season yet.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like he's the king of on paper. He's the king of what, like he literally was holding on to the idea of what he wanted this team to look like more so than what the team actually looked like. And we've seen that throughout history in terms of real life romantic relationships. We've seen people fall in love with the idea of the
With
person they
potential.
were, with the person that they were, with the idea of what a romantic relationship would look like with the dude who don't got a job, or who's stuck in the same position in his job, who's not moving up in his job, who's not showing what, that he can end up affording to buy a house one day, or that he's gonna get off the bus one day. That you get stuck with the idea of the young lady that you just expect to learn how to do all the things that you want her to do. Like, oh, she could if she put the work in. She could if she would do the things that she said she was gonna do. And that's what AK did. Like he put together a roster in that first second year when he brought in Caruso and Lonzo and Vooch in the second half of that first season that he was here. He's like, all right, this is a championship caliber team, and didn't care that Lonzo got hurt. Didn't care that DeRozan and Lavine and Vooch weren't working. He just didn't care about those things. So and now we're seeing how inept he is at trying to fix it. At least when you look at these other teams, they're trying to fix it. Even the White Sox are trying to fix it to a certain degree. The Bulls aren't. They're content.
They're
And you know
just
why
sitting and waiting.
they're content? Because they're still number one in attendance. Because they have great halftime shows. Like it's infuriating. But before we go on a 30-minute rant about the Chicago Bulls, we got to give Zach Lavine his flowers, so to speak, because he frankly was the best Chicago Bulls player we've had since Derrick Rose. He's number one all time in 3 points and 3 pointers made. I think he's number 7 in all time scoring, either 7 or 6 or close to 6 in all time scoring for the Chicago Bulls. And frankly, he's just a Chicago Bull great. No matter how you look at it, how you slice it, he never reached the full potential. I think he made 2 All Stars while he was here in 8 years. He was almost on pace of doing it this year. So basically 2.5 All Star because this season was an All Star type season for him. I can't be mad at his tenure with the Chicago Bulls, mainly because they told him he was going to be the number one option, and then when they got a number one option in DeMar DeRozan, and basically pulled the rug from under him. Because frankly, he could have been a different type of player without DeMar DeRozan on the roster the last 3 seasons.
Yep.
So that in that that led to some sour grapes to where he wanted to get traded last season. This season, he seemed to be actually bought in to staying and remaining with the team, but unfortunately, those sour grapes were,
I felt
maintained.
like he was lying the whole time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was being professional,
Yeah.
but he was playing like he wanted to be here for the first time in a couple of seasons, though. Like I think he was resigned to the like if they don't trade me, I'm good. If they trade me, I'm good. It was an either
Yeah.
or type situation.
I'm pretty much the same thing. Like we've getting to this point where like, oh, he wasn't the guy anyway, so I don't even know why we doing all this. First of all, Zach was an accident. I keep telling people that. When we first made the trade to move on from Jimmy, we was trying to get Laurie Marketing and Chris Dunn. That was the
Hmm.
main. He was the throw in to make the money right. That's why I said in Hayes live, he's kind of like that gold that washed up on the shore and we picked it up, but we didn't do nothing to enhance our money with that. We didn't do nothing to we didn't trade it in for more value. We didn't turn that piece of gold into nothing else. Because for the nice portion of after the ACL when he was very, very healthy for about 3 years, you put nothing around him.
I
So
mean, they had the Rosen around him. They had Vooch
no, no,
around him.
no, no. The first 3 years of him
Oh
being
yeah,
here.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I mean. The
yeah.
first 3 years, they didn't put nothing around him until the very end, till he started turning to he entered his prime at 28, 29. Where so happened when you did do that, injury started falling. He kind of got a little injury riddled and things happen. But at the end of the day, you wasted 3 years up until that point.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, man. The Bulls are just they're a frustrating franchise to be a fan of, and that seems to ring true for the majority of Chicago sports teams. But the Jerry Reinsdorf teams are rough. They're just rough, and it's not fair to the fans. Honestly, this team should easily be 500 or better right now. This current team, or the team that it was before they traded Zach Lavine, should be 500 or better, and they're not getting the output that they need, and frankly, it's almost like it's intentional because the Chicago Bulls want to build through the draft now. All of a sudden, they want to start to build through the draft, and I don't even see that going well. So, but y'all already know what it is. If you want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bulls, head on over to Chicago Bulls Central, where Big Hayes is holding it down, and you'll see the majority of us popping in and out of there for different reasons. So, but moving on to the Chicago Bears, Steve-O. Um, Listen, talk about on paper. Right now, the Chicago Bears are quietly building one of the at least supposed the best coaching staffs in the NFC, at least, or maybe in the entire NFL if things fall the way that they're supposed to. There's a lot that has to go right over the next few months. But right now, the Chicago Bears they're hitting a lot of home runs from our perspective. Now, I've been seeing before we get to the Ben Johnson news about how much he's making. Like I've been seeing people say rate the Chicago Bears coaching staff right now. Some people like 9.5, some people are 8.7, some people 10, 11. And it's like, man, if we ain't learned nothing as fans, we got to take the hype train and pump the brakes. Right now, the coaching staff is a 0 to me, and they'll earn their grade as the season goes on. This isn't college or high school where you start with 100 and work your way down. For me, as far as what I've seen with the Chicago Bears in my lifetime, you start at a 0 and you work your way up. So Ben Johnson and his coaching staff are and Dennis Allen and all of them, they got a lot to prove to me before I start tossing out grades willy nilly. But with that being said, the Chicago Bears believe in Ben Johnson enough to give him an official. We've heard rumors over the last couple of weeks, but officially now he's signed to a 5-year, $13 million per year deal, which is crazy in and of itself because the Bears are still paying Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron. So they're just
Mhm.
tossing out a lot of money for coaches right now.
And like I said, you pay for what you get. And at the end of the day, we've been cheap for a very fucking long time. And that's the type of organization and results we've been getting cheap. almost there, not quite making it there. It's because we being cheap. You gotta pay to play. If you want the best of the best to come up in here, you gotta cut that check. And like you said, like I'm not gonna get too high on it because I'm a Bears fan. So I'm not gonna go out here and be like, okay, based off this staff, oh, we got 10 wins. Because I'm already seeing motherfuckers doing that. And that's the problem with Bears fans. Y'all let any and everything hype y'all up to a point where, oh, now you should know better. We got to see it, you got to prove it. But I'm just glad on paper this is what an organization that's trying to turn it around is trying to be a legitimate football organization, a legitimate football team. This is what they do. This is typically what they do. They get the best of the best, they pay the best of the best, and that's what you do. So I'm happy with it. um like I said, I'm not feeding into it though. Like you said, we there's no point of doing it. We got to see how these people gel. There's still a lot of questions when it comes to people like Declan Doyle and others, but I still like the people like Eric Bieniemy and others coming in being our coach.
Oh yeah, I mean, besides Ben Johnson and of course Dennis Allen, like the Eric Bieniemy signing is huge. The Al Harris one is good as well. But the Eric
Al
Bien,
Green. I'll keep saying Green. Yeah, Al Harrison.
I'm
I
about to
don't know
say,
why I keep saying Green. I don't know why I keep calling that
I'm
man Green.
so in love with you.
Oh,
But no, man. So yeah, again, the Bears are at least doing all the right things on the coaching staff front in terms of putting together a staff that mimics or at least is on par or trying to be on par with what's happening across the NFL. The Bears have been a defensive minded team forever. They tried to go offensive minded with Mark Trestman, and again, I think people forget that those 2 seasons that Mark Trestman was here, those first two at the very least, both of those teams started off 7-3, and before Jay Cutler got hurt, and then they fell off a cliff in both of those seasons, and they were having Alshon Jeffrey and all of them were having a
yep.
great season until they got hurt. Matt Forte as well. Uh,
Defense just was garbage.
I
That
mean,
too.
yeah, that was it because it was an old Mark Brian Urlacher, old Lance Briggs, and they weren't truly garbage because honestly, they had a chance to make the playoffs in one of those seasons, and
They
then
was just running. Yeah.
Brian Urlacher got hurt at the end of the season.
Hmm.
And that derailed any playoff hopes there. So, but that was the last time they decided to go like offense, and then they got Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy was fool's gold because he was really just he was running somebody else's playbook. He didn't have his own ideas, and he was so set in running that playbook that he didn't
Yep.
adjust. So now you have a gentleman in Ben Johnson who's going to come here with his own ideas. He's going to break it down to the bone bristles and rebuild it from
To
the
the
ground up
gristles.
to the gristles. So I'm sitting here waiting to see what that's going to look like, and I'm excited for the first time in a long time to see something being built from the ground up because when we got Matt Nagy and then they turned around and drafted Mitch Trubisky, it was very confusing to me. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But all right, moving on. If you guys want to hear anything else from the Chicago Bears, head on over to Chicago Bears Central. Where Hayes, Bobby and C Dub hold it down. Steve and myself pop in and out. We'll be doing draft analysis and all that stuff throughout the off season. So it's going to be a fun time to be a Chicago Bears fan for sure. A little bit
Yes, sir.
different from last season where it was all hype and no bite. All right, Chicago Sky. Listen, man, they've been making a lot of moves lately. Steve O, you're gonna run this section because this is more your steez.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Starting with the first signing, we bringing back the point queen, the one that we won a championship with, the point guard herself, who I call female Chris Paul in the flesh. Courtney Vandersloot has
Hey,
signed a deal, 1 year deal again, to bring her back to reunite with the Chicago Sky, which I love because as you know, that the guard play, especially the point guard play, was much to be desired last year. There was a lot of struggles to get the ball down low to our bigs, and with her coming in, I have no problem. She's gonna get those entry passes, the flow of the game. She's not gonna panic. She's a two-time champion. She's gonna know what to do, and she's gonna bring a lot of wisdom to Camilla and Angel and the rest of this team, like, including a Michaela, who's next on the topic, who's just got re-signed last night, who I feel like definitely deserved the contract. She should have been to me. I mean, her stats didn't necessarily show it, but she was up there to me as one of the most improved players in the league. To me, she's like a jack of all trades. She can knock the shot down. She's a good defender. She plays hard. And she constantly got better, and she stepped into a role that she wasn't previously in nor used to, and she did pretty well in. So I'm glad we decided to resign her. And then the second, and then the two signings that happened together pretty much at the same time was Kia Nurse, who is a veteran point guard, 6 foot, 165, is the type of guard size that you want her to be. Solid defender, can knock the shot down. I would say it's much more to be desired from the 3 point shooting from her, but I think that's what we got the other young lady from, and I don't know. I'm trying to find her because her name uh flew past me, but she's the one that is bringing shooting. She's 31 years old. She's been in the league for over 10 years. Um, she has multiple years where she shot the three either at 50% or near 50. Multiple years of shooting over 40% from three, which is what we need. 6'2", what we need. So it's a big guard, another two big guards that we're bringing in, veteran guards at that we're bringing in. So I don't think these are moves like that's as big as the ones that we're hearing around the league as well. We also got some breaking news right now. This Diamond DeShields is going to the Suns, so no more Diamond DeShields. So I'm sure we're going to be looking for another wing as well. But yeah, those are the three signings that happened over the weekend and throughout the week. And I don't know if I don't think they're done yet, but these are pretty good signings. Like I said, I don't think these are something that's gonna transcend us to playoff contention per se, but I think it's gonna be a lot of for development.
I mean, Vandersloot is going to affect winning. That's a fact. She's a two-time WNBA champion. Just won a championship, albeit kind of shadily with the New York Liberty. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna forget the WNBA for basically just handing them the championship because they just wanted New York to win so bad. But not to take anything away from her. But she is a little long in the tooth at 35 years old, which is what the Chris Paul comparison is legit. I'm not sure what 35 years old
I
looks like
still
in the
feel like she a top three point guard right now.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
was just about to say I don't know what that really looks like in the WNBA compared to like a current 35-year-old in the NBA. Like, listen, I'm pretty sure sports medicine is helping them out just like it's helping the men out too, bro. Because 35, 36 year olds are
Rebecca and Rebecca Allen, it just came to my head. That was
Rebecca
the
Allen, the other
second
young
one.
lady, and
Yeah.
I wonder, I remember Quigley and Vandersloot are married, right?
Yep.
Because Quigley she had that torch.
She had that burner, but I think she doing that the white where she retired, but she ain't said it yet.
Yeah, she
But she just
38.
got a she just got a jersey retired for DePaul and everything, and you could just tell she not in basketball shape. So I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
she's coming back.
she up out of there, man. But she was
Yeah,
raw, Joliet native, so shout out
facts.
to her. Welcome back to the team, Vandersloot, and that's fun, man. Like it's gonna be a situation where we finally see the entry pass get done properly.
Yep.
Because last season we got two bigs out there. I've been seeing Angel Reese over on Unrivaled. And honestly, I'm just gonna say I haven't really been liking what I've been seeing so far. And you've given me context on how the team is currently built, but I'm more so paying attention to like her body language, her actions. She got ejected the other day. I didn't think she warranted an ejection,
Yeah.
especially in like a 3-on-3 competition. Like, what are we doing? These referees be getting too big for their britches. But some of the same things that plagued her last season in the WNBA are plaguing her in Unrivaled in terms of missing around the basket, turning the ball over, things like that. So she got some work to do, man. Coming into this season,
Yeah.
she got a
It's a
lot of work to do.
mixture. It's a mixture between team chemistry, the team they put together, and just her mindset. Like I said, the 3-on-3 is not built for players like Angel. It's not built for bigs. at her elk. She's a team player. She's a team basketball. She's comfortable in 5-on-5. And 3-and-3, you on an island. You got to create for herself. So I think she has the mindset of I'm gonna work on the things of creating on my own instead of having the mindset of this is an avenue to get my conditioning right and for me to fine tune the things I'm already good at. Like her coach went off, not necessarily went off on her, but she was like, I don't think she should have got kicked out, but this is something she can learn from to realize because she at that time she got kicked out, she had 15 boards, and she said she stayed in the game, she damn near could have had 30.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. She's young, she's learning, and I think somebody just need to get in her ear and let her realize like what you working on now is going to come as you get older. Right now, you need to work on your fine tuning, finishing it under the rim, developing actual post moves, getting that footwork right, and
Hmm.
not get if anything in terms of shooting, just a knockdown shot. I don't need you doing those step backs and crossovers
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, that's not necessary. You're only in year two. Look at she should really study the trajectory of Brooke Lopez's career to be 100. Brooke Lopez was a post player for the first 10 years of his career, and then worked his way out. And now he's one of the better 3-point shooting bigs that we've seen in the NBA. So in mid range shooting as well. So she got work to do, man, and she got to work on that attitude. You can't get baited into getting ejected the way that she did. Like, just be quiet. You already got one T. Just calm down. Go take a breather. Go stand by your coach. Don't even argue with the refs. Don't argue with the players. But she got baited. All right, man. Before we get up out of here, no news on the Blackhawks. They're just awful. They've been getting whooped on, and
Connor, I will say Connor just be making some stupid ass calls.
yeah, bro.
Like
And
he hit
they
one on the right side and just flicked it and it hit the top left of the damn goal.
yeah,
I'm like, how the fuck?
he is legit, man. He's definitely legit. I think you're talking about the game where they playing the Lightning when he
I
did
think they
that.
was playing the Lightning, yeah.
Yeah, so he did his thing with that one. Spring training is on the horizon, but of course, follow Chicago Blackhawks Central, Chicago Sky Central for any updates and news over there. Chicago Blackhawks Central for them, and then you got the Chicago Cubs and Chicago White Sox. Spring training is right around the corner. We got baseball this month. I know it's crazy. It seemed like the World Series was yesterday, but we got baseball this month, and then in March we got regular season baseball, which is crazier because I always thought that it started in April, but it's been starting earlier and earlier. It feels like so. The
Yep.
Cubs are going to start super early because they're going to be in Japan playing the Japanese Dodgers, which is crazy because the Cubs made a lot of good moves, Steve. I know you're not a Cubs fan, but they made a lot of good moves, man. And they did things the right way this offseason, try to put together a true contender. And the Dodgers are sitting over there like, do whatever you want, fan. Like we're trying to win for the next decade. It's crazy right now. It's crazy. It is crazy. Bye, man. We're gonna get up on out of here. We're reaching the 30-minute mark. We appreciate you guys for joining us. We are back in the building. Little illnesses last week kept us out of the building, but it is what it is. Hopefully we'll get back to consistently being on here every morning. It's your boy Big Kev. We got Steve O in the building. Y'all be praying for Q and his family. And we're
All
gonna
right.
holler at you guys next time. Peace.
Use hand sanitizer.
Don't forget to pray.